Yesterday I enjoyed to be with brothers and sisters in a Jewish Messianic congregation to celebrate the Feast of Sukkot. And they invited a Jewish speaker for that service, and he's an evangelist, a Jew who lived in Israel, but now he lives in the Netherlands and he's Dutch. And well, he had some good things to say, but my hair went up when he mentioned the Talmud and swallowed his words when he wanted to mention some other not biblical books, I suppose the Kabbalah. After the service he took the Lulav. These are 4 species: a palm branch, a myrtle branch, a willow branch and an Etrog, which is a citrus fruit, and these are bundled together in a specific way. He had 21 of these bundles and he invited 20 of us to take a bundle and to come forward and wave the Lulav together. I refused. I was not sure about the biblical foundation of this ritual. I got some alarming signals in my head and in my heart, and no. So they waved together, 21 men and women, to the east, west, north, south, up and down. And when that was finished, they had to give some of their bundles to the remaining people who did not participate in it, and I refused again. When I came home, I took my Bible and computer, and it took 1.5 hour study to find the foundation of this ritual. So tell me, why are we so easily lured into lies? When it is Jewish, it seems that our brains stop thinking and go in a kind of hypnotic state, and we all run after it. Okay. Okay. Why all the shaking of the Lulav and the Etrog set? It's a question, dear Rabbi. What is the shaking of the Lulav and the Etrog set all about? Listen. This will shake your mind. And the poison is in the tail. Like the dragons. Each day of the holiday of Sukkot, you have to wave it. Well, we know that according to Kabbalistic explanation taught by Rabbi Isaac Luria the Arizal, we do not actually turn in each direction. Instead, we face eastward and extend the species southward, northward, eastward, upward, downward and westward. After each movement, the Lulav and the Etrog are brought towards the heart. The Chabad custom is to bring the 4 species close enough to actually touch the area of the chest where the heart is located. The Arizal explains that the 6 directions represent the 6 emotions. The 6. What about the 6? Loosely translated here from the Hebrew. You can read this. Our sages explain that the manifestation of the divine presence in this world, the Shekhinah, which is not in the Bible, just Shekhinah in the Bible. Does not occur in the Bible and is from rabbinic literature. The Shekhinah, I think it is Kabbalistic, it is Gnostic, it is Babylonic, and it is Satanic. Okay, the Shekhinah stems from the West. If the Shekhinah is in the west, figuratively, when facing east, south would be to his right and north to his left. It's not so important. The right hand represents kindness. Well, read this. I don't know. I was in the New Age once before I became the Christian I am now. And this sounds very familiar. Okay, we go on. Following the scholar, the Rebbe, Huppeldepup, of righteous memory, explains the traditional movement of the four species. Well, that's a little bit familiar. Okay. Important is the Lulav. That's the palm branch. The idea is to unite the various individuals and unite them into one indivisible unit. The blessing may not be recited unless all four kinds are present, so why then? Is it that the blessing that is recited only mentions the Lulav? The Talmud attributes to this to the fact that the Lulav is the tallest and the most visible of the four. Yeah, right. The physical prominence of the Lulav is the dominance over the other three kinds implies a spiritual prominence and the dominance in what it represents. It represents the Torah study, which is the primary motor of all aspects of Jewish personal, community and national life. The power we gain from Torah study enables us to influence and transform the world around us. Well, we can agree, yeah. We extend the Lulav and its accompanying species to the various points in order to express his idea in more detail. The southern hemisphere is hotter than the northern hemisphere. Therefore, the south and the north represent respectively heat and cold. We begin the movements by extending the four kinds. How New Age. Led by the Lulav. 3 times to the south, followed by 3 times to the north, demonstrating thereby that it is through Torah study that we can dominate both the hot, seductive instincts as well as the cold indifference that threaten our spiritual vitality. We then move the 4 kinds towards the east, where the sun rises, representing the source of light. Shekinah. Through Torah study, we gain the ability to increase and add even more light to the Through Torah study, we gain the ability to increase and add even more light to the world. We move the Lulav. Well, we agree, the light is God, the light is the Word, the light is Jesus Christ. We move the Lulav upward, implying that through Torah study we can reach the highest levels and secrets of knowledge. Gnostic. Well, what was the temptation in paradise? You will be like God, you will know. It's about knowledge. We move the Lulav upward, implying that through Torah study we can reach the highest levels and secrets of knowledge. And went downward, representing our ability to positively influence the lowest levels of the human experience. Finally, and here's the poison, we carry the Lulav westward, representing God's manifest presence, as explained above, which represents our ability to become partners with God in creation, as it were, to the point of being able to dictate his behavior and even to annul his decrees. There you have it. Sorry. After careful study, it seems that the Rebbe's explanation is an elaboration of the Arizal's teaching, with emphasis on its practical impact on our physical world and on our personal struggles and challenges. Well, there we have it. This is a pictorial guide for the waving of the 4 kinds. My interest goes to this command from Eliezer Salmanov. According to the Kabbalah, moving the Lulav and the Etrog due west causes a streak of divine light to be revealed in this world, while the earlier wavings are to prepare the vessel to receive this great light. It seems that this is the reason for uncovering the Etrog at the moment, as it is indicative of the great light being uncovered. It's Kabbalah. Why do we have enjoy? We have to enjoy. We do not remember the discomfort and the physical suffering. We enjoy the love and the protection of God where we are, no matter what the problem is. God will protect us. We are safe in our sukkah. And in the Feast of Tabernacles, we live 1 week, 7 days in a sukkah, but we live our life long in this body. This body is also a sukkah, is a tent. And God will, one time, when Jesus Christ returns, we get our eternal body. And as long as we are in this sukkah, in this tent, God is providing us for everything we need, and that's why we are happy. That's why we can thank God in all circumstances. The 4 species are described in the text as follows, and you shall take on the first day the fruit of the tree of Hadar, pleasant, branches of the palm trees, capote marim, boughs of thick trees, anavet avot, and the willows of the brook, arve nagal. Sorry, I butchered it, I think. One rabbi interpreted the biblical definition of the Etrog in the following manner. In the Bible, there's no Etrog mentioned, nowhere. Nowhere. What fruit tastes like the tree? It's the Etrog. I think this is very Kabbalistic. I'm sure this is Kabbalistic. And they always put their lies in, they wrap it in truth. There are all wolves in sheep clothes. It is really, they are so magnificent in this. They are really, really very intelligent. And he pointed out that the name Etrog is a literal Aramaic translation of the Hebrew Hadar, both of which mean pleasant. And yeah, when you give your authority in the hands of your leaders, you have a problem. One had to rely on the traditional or rabbinical interpretation to determine the specific fruit indicated in the text. Yeah. We lose the authority of the Bible, and we embrace the authority of the rabbis. Yeah. The rejoicing was in due time affected by a later rabbinical perception of the festival of Sukkot as a period of judgment concerning water, not biblical, thus adding an element of solemnity to the ritual of the Lulav, adding. This is reflected in the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer that the purpose of the 4 species is to intercede intercede for water. We don't give God thanks anymore. We don't give Yahuwah thanks anymore for protection when we live in our booth, in our sukkots. No. The ancient ritual of the waving of the 4 species, sideways, forward and backward, up and down, was an outgrowth of the new rabbinical perception of the rationale of the Lulav. Rabbi Jose, Rabbi Hanina, 3rd century, explained that waving is demonstrative of one's prayer to God to keep out damaging winds from any direction and harmful deposits of dew. I thought we don't do that with these rituals. When we want to be safe, we ask God, protect us. We don't protect ourselves with this kind of rituals. The ritual of waving was not exclusive to the Lulav. There is precedent in the Bible in the offering of the Omer on Passover and the 2 loaves of wheat in Shavuot. In both instances, the waving is inherent in the terms veheniv and tanufa, lift up, which are traditionally interpreted to mean and he shall wave. But waving is something different than lifting up. And a waving. Rabbi Jose's statement that the waving is a prayer for protection against harmful winds was originally made in reference to the Omer and the 2 loaves of bread. Really? Jews really. It was subsequently applied to the waving of the Lulav. The term tenufa does not appear in the text of the Lulav ritual. Instead, the text employs the term ulekachtem, that means and you shall take. It is obvious that the requirement to wave the Lulav is not based on a textual implication, but on an analogy of the agricultural right with the other 2 agricultural rites of the Omer and the Lechem Tanufa. Thus, the 3 agricultural seasons, Passover, Shavuot, and Sukkot, have familiar prayers for protection against inclement weather elements which might be detrimental to farming. Well, it's God's blessing and protection, but we add a little bit and again a little bit and again a little bit. The waving of the Omer and the 2 breads was undoubtedly practiced in the first temple. The introduction of the waving on Sukkot most likely dates from a later period. According to the Talmud, the most important time for waving the Lulav is when Hallel is chanted. Sukkah, 37b. 37b. The public chanting of Hallel was first introduced early in the period of the Second Temple. It appears likely that the waving of the Lulav dates from the same time. The view that the ceremony of the Lulav is intended as prayer for proper climatic conditions seems to be inconsistent. Is inconsistent with the biblical intimation that it is an expression of joy. The statement in Jerusalem Talmud apparently takes note of this contradiction. According to this, Jews can really talk you around. It's really they can talk you really upside down, and you don't realize it. You realize it a day later. According to the statement, the joy mentioned in the Bible derives from the shelamim, whole offerings, which provided large quantities of meat, a source of physical joy. However, the dissenting opinion associated the joy with the waving of the lulav. The joy was that God provided food. 40 years in the desert, their shoes did not wear out. Every day they have their food, the manna. God provided it. That's the joy of the abundance of food. God gives the abundance. Thus, assuming it to be a ritual of thanksgiving, according to Rashi, the latter view is accepted opinion of the Babylonian Talmud. Yep. Well, I can go on and on and on.